All right, what up, YouTube? I'm your host, Marley G. Welcome back to No Cap, No Filter Saints. We got my boy B back on the show, man. How you doing, B?
It's all good, man. No complaints on this end.
All right, we go
Football
ahead.
season back, bro. You know what I'm saying? College football today.
Oh yeah, man. We they about to get it popping today. Everybody looking like they shining too. I'm looking on X right now. I'm seeing all the highlights. I'm like, damn, boy. So many people saying Saint. That shit crazy when that football stuff at college, boy.
Yeah, man.
Mm,
It's good. It's good football back though, bro. Now it's that time.
yeah. Let me go ahead on and try to get this link shared so we could go ahead on and get it out to the people on X.
I bet.
Let's see your video. Are we live right now? All right. Man, I don't even know how to. I don't know. I must just do it the regular way. You know what I'm saying? Telling people come join. Um, Give me a second, people. Give me a second if you just joining. What up,
Yeah.
Jerry? Okay, I finally got it. All right. All right. Sorry, people, for that hold up. I just tried to get the link sent on up out of here. Now we live. Now we straight. All right. What
You
up,
got it,
Jerry?
brother? You sent it
Yeah.
out there?
Yeah, I sent it out there. You go ahead.
I bet. I'm about to black out real quick, but I'm back.
All right, all right. All right, what up, Jerry? Yeah, man, we about to go ahead on and talk about this preseason wrap up, Jerry. I was just trying to send a link over to my X profile so we can get some people up in here. About to get it started and get it popping. How you doing, Jerry? Yeah, we live. Yeah, man, we live, Jerry. We about to go ahead on and get into this preseason wrap up. Talk about what's going on the Saints Twitter. You know, I like to talk about what's going on Saints Twitter because I feel like that's the pulse of what's going on in the Who That Nation. And we're gonna get ready to get into this preseason, not the preseason, but regular season matchup with the Carolina Panthers, man. You say you're watching college football, Jerry? Okay, that's what's up, bro. Everybody watching at college. All right. Yeah, man. We live now. We ready. All right, let's go ahead on and get into it,
Yeah,
man.
man. I'm back.
All right, man. So the preseason just ended. You know, like, what's your overall thoughts on the preseason? Be like, what do you feel after we just wrapped up? You know, our three preseason game and going into week one versus the Carolina Panthers.
I think the Saints still have a whole lot of questions, bro, that they haven't answered. And I don't know if they even have the ability to answer some of them. Like, I think the big decision now is who's gonna start at right tackle between Penning and Ole Udo. Is it gonna be somebody else that maybe gets cut this week that they can bring in and try to get them acclimated with this week's game plan? But that's all that that's tough sledding right there, man. Because you ask somebody to come in short of a week's notice to get a game plan done, and then go up against one of the one of the teams in the division that tend to play you pretty tough. So I mean, for me, I think the Saints, they better have one hell of a game plan because as of right now, like I said, there's a lot of questions and zero answers. What you gonna do at right tackle? Who's gonna, what's how your receiver depth chart gonna fill out? Is your running back room good? Is Marshawn, healthy and ready to go? Is Paulson healthy, ready to go? And what you gonna do at safety? Who's starting there? So they got a lot of questions, man, that they need to answer. And we'll find out, we'll find out soon enough, man. Sunday will be here soon enough.
So that's like confirmed, like Trevor Penning not starting?
Not necessarily confirmed, man, but I mean, I would look at it this way: it's a concern because this entire offseason you've been saying Trevor Penning is our dude, and now you're starting to give Ole Udo snaps right there. So I mean, in my estimation, what you doing it for? Because a dude like Trevor Penning need all the snaps he can get. So if you subbing somebody in, trying to see it, trying to make it a competition, now that must mean you want somebody else in that spot.
Mm. Yeah, man. I mean, I I wonder, like, will he do better than Penning? Like, do you think he could do better than Penning? Like, maybe not so more against the rush. I mean, maybe not so much against with the run blocking, but with the pass blocking, do you feel a little bit more comfortable with him than Penning?
I mean, it's really like damn near the Spider-Man meme. They're not that far off. I think Udo just a little bit better in the idea of the experience is there. You know what I'm saying? So it's a better thing, and it's a natural ability there as well. You know what I'm saying? Like he's played snaps on the left, he's played snaps at inside at guard, played snaps on the right. So there's a familiarity that Penning just don't have.
Hmm. Well, yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see, and I'm pretty sure Nick Saldiveri, he's not gonna be able to go for week 1 either, right?
No, I think Nick probably gonna start the season on IR. To be honest, bro, I'm surprised they kept him. I think at this point, I get it to a degree. You just drafted him last year. He really didn't play last year. Doesn't look like he's gonna play much this year. And you're trying to hold out hope that you drafted a dude in the 4th round that eventually, if you just kind of be patient with him, he'll everything will work out well. To be honest, man, I think the Saints are kind of they're behind the 8 ball on this one. I just think he serves no purpose, and cutting the 4th round pick wouldn't have hurt you.
Hmm. I just think they're gonna make do with Lucas Patrick. That's his name, right? Lucas Patrick.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay. Yeah, Lucas Patrick. He probably be like this year's James Hurst version. Probably just a guy that could just move up and down the line, and he's a veteran they like to look towards. He has a big
Yeah.
voice, and I just think a lot of the young players can like gravitate towards him, and he's like a leader on that line. So we're gonna have to see how he pans out, man. Let's see. We got Trav 504 says who that? What up, Trav 504? We're gonna get into it, but before we get into the rest of the preseason, let's talk about what happened on this whole Saints Twitter, man. It was like a civil war broke out just like 2 days ago.
Yeah, man.
And Homer Q, he a guy that I follow. He's a diehard Who Dat fan. Like it's crazy. He like one of the optimists that I like. Like I just like him for some reason. Like he's standing on his business. Like and every time you read a tweet, it just sounds like he's shouting. It's just like he just put something up like yesterday. He was like, "With Brazil, Tyrann Mathieu, and Demario Davis be all pro. I don't want your shit." I'm like, boy, this dude here got the most unbelievable loyalty and faith to the Saints. But he had put up a tweet. I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, "Yeah, man, y'all got the national media in the crib business. Man, I hate you niggas." And he was alluding to the agenda thing.
Yeah.
And it just started carrying a whole lot of weight. Credit Saints Block Party. They've been pushing that agenda. It started making its rounds around Saints Twitters, then broke off into national news. And Homer Q, he don't speak for every Saints fan, but I would like to think that on Saints Twitter you get like a pulse of what the fan base is really feeling and just how they come in, like different perspectives. And he don't speak for every fan, but he speaks for a large portion. So what do you feel about everything that transpired after that whole Saints Twitter debacle?
I mean, a part of me loves the chaos, especially because I ain't involved. Like I ain't have to worry about my account getting suspended, so I was good. I got to sit back and watch everything else. But really, it's like dudes like Homer Q. I get. Don't get me wrong. I think Q delusional as hell, and I think he delusional as hell a lot. But as you said, he stand on it. I mean, he'll be 10 toes down in the opposite direction. He don't care because like I said, I get why. Q don't care about what happens or who the Saints go get. He just wants the Saints to win. He don't care how they get to that bottom line. He just want it to happen. I think that the disagreement comes sometimes on what's best for the organization because Q is like, I don't care if the player is 45 years old. If he had all pro attached to his name last season and he's available this season, the Saints give him 100 mil because we need all the help we can get. And it's asinine to think that it's always going to work out that way, but that's how Q think because, again, all he want to do is win. And I get it. I find him hilariously delusional, but I ain't mad at it. It's good. It's comical to see cats like that sometimes, man, that just have a blind faith and a blind belief. And some people in the fan base are like that. But my issue with people like that, Homer Q, Ralph Marlboro, people like that, is that a little bit of a difference between Q and Ralph is the idea of Q gonna cry later. because it's like he cried because the heartbreak and the expectation ain't there. Ralph a little bit different because Ralph is delusional on the idea of if you give him 5 minutes, he's gonna totally contradict what the hell he just said, 5 minutes before that with the original. So it's comical to have these delusional cats, but it's also dangerous because like I don't take Q as a dude that's just on there saying that shit to be saying it. I actually believe in his somewhere in his mind, he believed what he's saying is real. With Ralph a dude that seems like he say shit sometimes for the hell of it, and that's why he could contradict himself later because in his mind, well, I'm just having fun. And I don't care how this is taken, it's actual, it's real. White people fun and black people fun totally different. It's a whole different ball game on what we perceive to be as fun. So for him, he's just having fun being a goof, and he can get away with that. Somebody like myself, I couldn't say half the shit he says, and people look at me and be like, "Ain't you supposed to be some kind of source or something like that? Why you keep changing your mind every 5 minutes?" So it's needed in the fan base, but it's also reckless to a degree.
Yeah, man. And then you speaking of
Hmm.
just having fun, like I like Q. We be talking, we be DMing and things like that. And he could take a joke, and I even put like a joke when I put um Saints Twitter having fun talking about the agenda with Spence Rattler, and I put the stink emoji. And
Yeah,
I
I
had
seen that. I seen that. You said in this queue right now.
this home Q. I had put the bopping hop, hopping bop,
Yeah,
hopping
hopping
bop,
Bob.
hopping
Yeah,
bop live from life. And just like, man, y'all ain't about to be having fun on my timeline in the name of Derek Carr. Like I
yeah,
back off y'all ass. But yeah, man, I just think that people just taking it way too serious. Like we really just having fun. Like we don't really know if Spence Rattler gonna come in this game uh this season. Like we don't really know what's gonna happen. Me personally, I don't want to wish no injury on Derek Carr. Like I want Derek Carr to have a full season so DA don't have no outs. I don't want no excuses. I already see the excuses being set up right now. The O
hmm,
line bad. DA could potentially have that excuse. Have the excuse if Derek Carr was to get injured. And I don't want Spence Rattler to come in and save this job. I want them two to sink with the ship together. That's just me personally. But when it comes to Spence Rattler, a whole nother situation happened on Saints Twitter. Well, DA did not announce a QB2 yet. And everybody was
yeah,
wondering, like, damn, why QB2 ain't get announced? Oh, he protecting Derek Carr. And I had put on Saints Twitter, I was like, man, this dude just not a leader man. He's a terrible head coach. He didn't announce a QB2 the same way we literally didn't announce a defensive coordinator 2 years ago, or was it a year ago when we had
yeah,
Ryan Nelson and Chris Rashad. Like
yeah.
he just don't want to make up a tough decision and stand on it.
Yeah, I think the big problem with it is it comes across as one more thing DA doing to alienate the fans. I'm sorry, nobody ain't gonna tell me inside that Saints building they don't know what's happening outside with the whole thing with the agenda and all this other stuff, man. Like they know exactly what's going on, man. The Saints keep their ear to the street like anybody else. They know what's happening. So because of that, we it's another move DA can make to piss the fans off. Like I'm not gonna give y'all what y'all want. Y'all want me to name the starting. I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction. You want me not to apologize to Atlanta? Nah, I'm doing it anyway. Like he you want to be present for training camp? Nah, we're not gonna allow that. We're gonna have training camp way out in California where we know no fans can't show up. So because we want to protect everything we have here. It's wild, bro, and it just comes across as disingenuous because it doesn't matter who you name. You can game day. You can do what you want to do. So if he says, you know what, Spence Rattler is QB3, Jake is my number two, and if Derek Carr goes down against the Philadelphia Eagles, he can still say even though he named Jake the number two, he can still put Spence in the game, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. So it just comes across as him again not making a tough decision, him alienating the fans, and him basically trying to play some kind of cat and mouse game that ain't necessarily there. I don't know, bro. It bothered me because it just seemed very cowardly of him.
People in the chat right now is talking about the Michael Thomas suspension. What do you make of that? Like all of a sudden he's just now suspended one game.
Man, I think the Saints must have got word that Mike was about to sign with a team and started putting that bug out there, whatever, like that, or kind of nudging the league a little bit, like say, y'all ain't gonna do nothing, y'all ain't gonna do nothing. We got because the normally with the NFL, the criminal case will decide what happens with you. There was no case; they threw it out. So for him to still get suspended behind a case that was thrown out with no physical evidence that he did anything wrong, that sounds like the league got something that they normally wouldn't have had, and that can only come from one area. It ain't like it would be different if TMZ posted it. A little bit different. That in order for Mike to get suspended, maybe they had a video of Mike doing some wild shit, and they sent the director to the league office and say, "See, told you, look at him," and that's how Mike got suspended. It's a bullshit move. It is petty as hell. I mean, haven't you done enough to this man? So I mean, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I mean, knowing how the Saints operate, think about some of the people that went up against the Saints and how you don't hear from them again. Here's one of them in particular. Old boy that came out and was like the whistleblower or whatever like that, man, for the Bounty Gate thing. He got like 3 seconds of fame right after that Bounty Gate scandal, and then you ain't never hear from him again. They had one guy that came out and said, man, the Saints was wiretapping the opponents so they can listen in on their shit. That man ain't never been heard from again. The Saints have a knack for this type of thing, man. So it wouldn't surprise me if it went the same way that, now that Mike gone and they threw a hit piece on him, they're going to do everything they can to basically sabotage him.
Yeah, man. I could just picture another organization reaching out to the Saints and try to inquire about that situation with the Saints. Just reach out to our guy, Jeff Duncan.
Yeah, exactly. Look, just go through his tweets. Look at what he said. And Jeff don't mind because Jeff got a problem with him.
Yeah, man. I remember Mike Thomas called him out when he first came back. Like, oh, yeah, that was you writing all that bullshit. But
yeah,
I wish the best for Mike, man. I hope he goes to a team and thrives. Like, I don't want to see that man career just be going downhill from here. A lot of people feel like he was a cancer, but and it's crazy because there's so many people still in the fan base saying, man, call Mike, because they're looking at what's going on with the wide receivers right now. Like, we got a full, view of what these guys could do outside of Rashid Shaheed and Olave, and you've seen all the drops.
Yeah, and we don't know how they're gonna perform in this offense. Like A.T. Perry was supposed to be horrible in practice, come out plays pretty well in the games. Cedric Wilson, I haven't seen anything he did yet that makes me be like, you know what, they in good hands with that one. So it's like you got a bunch of unproven dudes, and some of the cats that you could have signed, you didn't. Like they could have got a Hunter Renfrow. I'm not saying he would have solved all their problems, but he was available, and he's the type of wide receiver that they're looking for. Maybe not physically, but possession receiver. That's what they're looking for right now. So yeah, you couldn't, maybe making amends with Mike would have been a better way to go, but both sides drew their lines in the sand and they stood on business with it.
If you got any questions for Brian, go ahead and write your questions down in the chat. We're gonna try to be interactive on the show. Just put any questions down in the chat. We'll get to it as soon as possible. I'm gonna go ahead on and get to this statement right here by 504 Code. He says, "For me, bro, Clark got a clean slate. I hope he does well, because if he do well, the team will do well. But if he don't perform, move on, cut him, take the cap hit, and roll with Raffler." What do you feel like about that situation?
I actually think they don't have to. Now, I'm not disagreeing, but I actually think they don't have to cut him. If the Saints are smart, they got to out after not 2025, but I think 2026. Keep him as your backup. I know you're paying him a hell of a lot of money, but the balance in that is, yeah, but you're not paying Spencer that much money. So it doesn't matter how it flipped, he's still around. So, and maybe you can, do some cap restructuring to lower that number or something like that as you pushing him out the door. But, I mean, you got to out anyway coming up soon. Keep his ass as a backup if you feel like that. You can keep the same quarterbacks intact, just switch the order, and you still got a pretty decent quarterback room. What the problem is that we know Derek's limitations. We know what he can do and what he can't do. We're excited about what Spencer can do because we've seen glimpses of it, and we haven't seen that in years around here. So, I mean, it makes sense if you're going to do it. Just, give Derek the opportunity this year if that's what's going to be the plan. But there are no excuses, and he should have the shortest leash.
Yeah, man. Like, I think I was listening to Matt Moscone. I think he said if he's not on our roster next year, it'll be a $50 million cap hit. So it's like,
yeah, you might well keep him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not 2025. It's 2026. I think it's the out in his contract since they did that restructure. They messed up doing the restructure because they needed the money, but they should have left Carl's contract alone. And you gave him a no trade clause. That was a bad idea.
Yeah, man. And shout out to Matt Moscone, man. He be just singing music to my ears when I be hearing him talking. I be like, God damn, he's spitting, man. Because everything he be saying, I be agreeing with. And it's crazy because when he was first saying all this, he was like one of the first people on the ship saying what he's saying. And everybody was just saying he a Saints hater and all this and all that, including me. I was one of them type of fans that I was like Homer Q. I was like, all these other people. Like I was giving DA a chance. I was defending him. But, They got that one little cartoon meme that's going around right now with the cartoon dude. He's just putting his shoulder on his on the dude's shoulder. He was like, he just looking at him like, brother, it's time to really snap into reality,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
had to snap into reality. I was like, damn, dog, everything this man said came to fruition. He was right. He was right. I thought Derek Carr was gonna be our Matt Stafford, and just take this organization to the Super Bowl. Like I just thought all that was gonna happen. And it's crazy because when you're a fan and you just believe, like when these guys are saying, "Oh yeah, Saints gonna win 12 games and all that," they looking at this schedule from a fan perspective and just saying, "Man, I know the Saints could win this game. I believe in the Saints could win this game." Instead of just looking at
Hmm.
all the logic and all the red flags that's going on with this team, But I digress. Let's see. Hurricane Mike has a question. He says, "Brian, how do you feel about the choice to keep Will Harris over Jonathan Abram?"
I think they're gonna play games with it. You know what I'm saying? Like they felt like they can cut John Abram and be able to sign him to the practice squad and elevate him on game days. If they would have cut Will Harris, maybe a team jumps in and snatches him. Same thing with Howden. Young, they probably thought they couldn't sneak him past waivers, but they knew they could do that with John Abram. That being said, I think they're gonna still elevate him on most game days. I think they're gonna see how Will Harris does, although I don't really feel like that's a great fix. I know they once upon a time was really, really high on Howden. They're not down on him, but they damn sure ain't singing the same way that they used to. And now you got Abram or whatever like that who played well in spurts, but I think that's the trick to it. You got to play him in spurts. So I think they're still gonna use him, but I don't think he's gonna start, and I don't think he's gonna lack either. You'll look back whatever game they sign him up and bring him up. They're probably gonna drop Tipton or somebody like that and have him play on game days. They're gonna do all kind of nonsense with the roster, man, to make sure he stay around.
I feel like with this offensive line, I think last year's offensive line was more talented because we had a Pete, we had the leadership of Ramchick, we had a Hurst who could just come in and just come fill up a position if need be, and Pete he played kind of solid last season. Um,
Hmm.
I feel like last season we had a more talented offensive line. We had Michael Thomas on the team for 10 games. Um, so I think that by us taking a step back as far as talent, but us gaining Clint Kubiak, I think it's gonna level out and be
Hmm.
just back to like the same type of production of last year. Yeah, we might score
Yeah,
a little bit more here and there, but I don't think it's just gonna be you know just just over that hump per se.
yeah.
So I really just think the loss of talent, but the schemes of Clint Kubiak, I just think it's going to balance out.
There's a path for success for the Saints. It's going to involve a little bit of luck, but there's a path to success. Like you, you, you lucky enough to draw Carolina week 1, so you can get a test because they're probably going to put Clowney on the side where Penning is, and if you want to, as long as you chip all game long, you'll probably be okay there. You should get past Carolina even with while you working your kinks out. The problem is Dallas, and that's kind of one of the issues right there. It's the idea of Dallas can score. And even as great as the Saints defense can be, if it's a 17-13 game, that actually favors Dallas more than it does the Saints. So with Derek Carr, can you win a close game? Well, yeah, you can, but you can't win a shootout. And Dallas can put up points. At some point, CeeDee Lamb gonna break one. We know this. You know what I'm saying? So it's that can break the pocket and get him a extra first down or run for a big gain and flip the field on you. So that's the question with the Saints. It's not whether or not they can play with you toe to toe if you even or if you're a little bit behind them. It's can you catch up if you behind, and they're not designed to do that. And they playing a lot of offense that can put points on the board quickly, and that's not going to be the Saints attack. So for me, man, I look at the Saints, I look at their deficiencies, and I'm like, I get the optimism that y'all have, and if a few things break your way, maybe you get an advantage. But by and large, you're not gonna have that this year. Not in the first half of the season, anyway.
Yeah. And I just want people to understand, man. Alvin Kamara could hit his first 1,000 yards. Olavi, he could hit 1,000 yards again for the third consecutive season. We still could miss the playoffs. We still could go 8-9. I just want people to understand that we still can hit them
I
numbers.
said that. I said that on your program, though, bro. I said you asked me for a hot take. I said I think the Saints might look better this year and still have a worse record. I think 7-10 is probably the most realistic thing. And the crazy thing is that I'm saying it, but Dennis Allen survives the 7-10 season. So it's like Now you get year two in Clint Kubiak, and now you can sit down and pound your chest because you could be like, I made it past that first year. We won 7 games when we had to when we doing a rebuild. So let's go all in for 2025
Yeah.
with the cap space we gonna save by getting rid of Alvin and all these other older cats and stuff like that, man, and possibly moving Marshawn out, stuff like that. So, I mean, you can see the rebuild happen, and they just don't want to say it.
And that's another thing about a rebuild. Like when it comes to Dennis Allen, if he can't win with a ready-made team that got vets and leaders all across the board, what you think gonna happen when we just get when the next year or two all these guys are gone, and then we just really for sure in a rebuild without a doubt because it's just nothing but young new core all across the board, offense, defense. Like it's only just Taysom can't play forever, DeMario can't play forever, Cam, Tyron, like. Once these dudes gone in a year or two, you really feel comfortable with Dennis Allen starting all over with a rebuild?
They pretty much doing it now. Like the slow build is there. It started with the staff. You get rid of a few dudes who you feel like were Sean Payton guys, and then and no matter if that's on the field with the personnel or that's on the sidelines with the coaching staff. Year one was clean out for the defense. Well, he kept them around for a second to see if they was loyal to him. When he felt like that wasn't it, he got rid of them. So Chris Richard and Ryan Nielsen, like you mentioned earlier, gone. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, gone. He got rid of dudes he felt like was Sean guys. That was year one. Year two, now he rebuilding the offense.
Yeah,
the rebuild is here. And as you can see, the Saints went from, I believe, one of the oldest teams in the league to one of the youngest now. That's not happening by accident.
Yeah. If you got any questions, go ahead on and put it down in the chat. Trying to be interactive on the show, interact with the guests. So if you got any questions for Brian, go ahead on and put your question down in the chat. We're going to get to it as soon as possible. Hurricane Mike says, Brian, why is Peyton Turner still here?
Bro, if I had the answer to that, I might be in the Saints organization. I have no idea other than the idea of you gave up essentially a first-round pick to get him. So you're trying to stick by him with every opportunity because when he's healthy, which is never, and that's been since his days of U of H, and I'm a U of H grad, so I know what's happening. So, dude, he just can't stay healthy. But when he is, he flashes. He can play inside and outside and give them the versatility they're looking for. He's still on a rookie contract, so you got that part. So it's almost like it's worth it to keep him around to at least pray that he don't turn into or that he does turn into a Trey Hendrickson. That it takes him 4 or 5 years to see the field, but once he finally see the field, the light clicks on and like, okay, now I'm a monster. That's what they were hoping for. It didn't happen with Davenport, and most likely than not, it's not going to happen with Peyton Turner.
Speaking of him playing inside and outside, I think they're doing that a little bit more with Cam this season. Like, how do you feel about Cam kicking into the inside? Then you got Brian Brzee, he coming into his second year. He seems like he's promising. You got Carl Granderson. He started last year. He's going to be a full-time starter again for the second year straight. He seems promising. You got Chase Young. Like, what are your expectations of this D-line? Like, what do you think they could do if everybody, relatively healthy?
Well, I think with Cam, it's probably like maybe a year, possibly 2 years that they should have already started, switching him inside and giving him more inside snaps, to kind of, build him up a little bit more. Because I think that might have, it can extend his career playing on the inside as a situational dude. That's part one. Part two, to actually, answer your question about the D-line and, how do I feel if they're healthy? I mean, that depends on Cam. Because if Cam is just going to be a run stuffer and he's not really able to, get around the edge like he used to, or maybe he lucks into a couple of sacks, that's not what they need. They need Cam to kind of hit the rewind button a little bit and be that dude. Because if not, he's going to be a tell. Almost as if like, well, we know he can't rush the passer anymore, so we just going, we basically just going to shade the, the offense to his side and worry about the other side. Maybe we can one-on-one block Cam. Maybe we shade 2 people to this side, but we don't have to worry about nothing else because we ain't got to worry about Cam getting the field. As long as he's out there, we know which way to go. And I think that's the problem. So Cam got to kind of hit the rewind button and kind of be Cam again. If he's somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 sacks, the Saints defense is probably, amongst the elite of the elite. So if I would say without Cam being that dude to generate the pass rush from him, because Chase is going to be there long as he's healthy. Granderson going to be there long as he's healthy. Maybe you get some type of, rush from, maybe Peyton Turner, somebody like that. Maybe one of the young guys may be able to come in and help out a little bit more. But it's Cam, it's Grando, and it's, Chase Young. That's who they counting on. If Cam can hit that rewind button, it opens things up for for that defense so tremendously, bro. So if they top 10 with Cam getting, let's say, 2 sacks, they'd be top five easily, maybe top three if Cam is in the 7 sack range.
Got any questions? Put your questions in the comment section for Brian. We'll get to it as soon as possible. 504 Coach says, Brian, speaking facts, we could open up 1-5, or 3-3, or 4-2. What's your opinion? What's our record after week 6?
After week 6, I'm probably closer to 2-4, maybe somewhere along those lines. I see 3-3 being a possibility? I can't, because I think they're gonna. I think they might. I think they lose. They beat Carolina, but they lose the next maybe 4. I think it's Carolina, then it's Dallas, then it's then it's after Dallas is Philadelphia. After Philadelphia, I want to say it's Kansas City. After Kansas City, it's Atlanta. After Atlanta, is Denver. So I mean, and I'm doing it by memory, so I could be a little off on that. Y'all forgive me. But if that's the schedule and how it breaks down, then I only see 2 wins in that, and I don't even know if I see 2, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Boot Tragedies, man. That brother do some real good work when it comes to breaking down film. He be added up a lot. I had him on the show, and he says his hot take is after week 7, that's when Dennis Allen get fired after losing to Sean, because he think that we only gonna win that Panthers game. We might squeeze out that Falcons game, but he was like, if we lose to Sean, that's gonna be the thing that break the camel's back.
I don't disagree with the idea of that's when it should happen. I disagree with the idea of that's when it will happen. I don't remember in a long time, and I'm one of the older Saints fans. I don't remember the Saints firing a coach in season, and I can't even remember if Mike Dicker made it. I want to say Mike Dicker might have been the last dude that they fired in season. I think Jim Haslett made it this whole time. So I mean, for me, bro, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna happen like that. I would love for it to happen, because that would you give Clint Kubiak, at least half a season to see what he can do, but I'm a little over half at that point. But I mean, I can't see the Saints firing Dennis Allen, especially not the way Mickey got up there chewing that gum like a crackhead, talking about Dennis Allen could be Chuck Noll and we don't know it.
Yeah, man. When it comes to Clint Kubiak, I just think a lot of fans just got in their head. They're looking at Christian McCaffrey. They saying, "Man, it's gonna be Alvin. This gonna be Alvin." The offensive line. It is not good when it comes to passing blocking, but shoot, once we get going with that run blocking, they can just gain confidence. We're just gonna be mauling guys. Derek Carr, he's gonna have the play action at his disposal. We're gonna have this motion. We're gonna have all this and all that, but I just look at that offensive line. I look at Derek Carr. Got to go through his progressions if need be. He got to go through. Quick reads. He got to stop staring down receivers. He got to stop throwing quote-unquote hospital balls. I'm looking at Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. I take into account if one of these guys got to miss some time. You're putting a lot of hope and prayer into this rookie tight end. Like, man, I'm not looking at this team and saying this gonna be the 49ers offense. Like, I'm just not looking at it like that. I think that certain guys gonna eat. I think for sure Taysom gonna eat. I think without a doubt this might be Taysom's best productive year. Like, I think he gonna give it his all this year, and like after this year, he's what, 35, 36. I just think this probably gonna be his last year, probably in a league where just having just a high pitch count of production. He just gonna go out with a bang. Like, I think it's gonna be this season or next season he gonna retire, but this will be his most productive season, and that's saying a lot. Like, if you got to use one guy to fill out your running to fill out a running back hole, to fill out a halfback hole, to fill out a tight end hole, maybe possibly even a slot wide receiver hole, that says a lot about your other guys on the team.
Yeah, no question, bro. And when it comes to Taysom, I'm gonna say it like this: if I'm Clint Kubiak and I know I got him for this year, I don't know what's gonna happen next year. Taysom gonna get more carries and more touches than anybody else on offense. My offense, if I'm Clint Kubiak, is Taysom friendly, and I mean to the extreme. I mean, like $2 hooker at a brothel type thing. I mean, like, easy, bro. I mean, that's how much I'm putting on Taysom. It's got to be ran through him, and I think it should be, because I don't think the way the Saints want to play football this year, I don't think everybody else is going to be able to hold up as well as Taysom will be. I think it should be a heavy dose of Taysom, Kamara, and Williams to a degree. Mix in Mims if you can, but I think it's going to be heavy Taysom, heavy Kamara. because they want to play that ground and pound. Let's win a 13-10 ball game and stuff like that. That's the way they want to play ball. That's why I keep saying, if you get into a shootout, if the Saints get down by 10 points, I don't care who the opponent is, they losing. So because of the style of football they want to play, they're not built to come back from from deficits. So if we looking up in the middle of the first quarter and it's 17-3, Dallas over the Saints, you might well go ahead on and get you something to eat or whatever like that and go enjoy the rest of your night because it's over with.
When it comes to Taysom and Alvin Kamara, I put on Twitter, if I'm a defense, that's who I'm focused on to stop. Like, if I could stop Alvin and Taysom, I make the Saints one-dimensional and make Derek Carr beat me with those wide receivers, then I can live with that if I lose. And I think a lot of teams are going to do that. I think a lot of teams should do that. But, I think about that Seahawks game when we beat them, like, with Andy Dalton starting and I think Taysom and AK just took over the whole game.
Yeah.
I think that's the only two guys on our offense that could just completely take over a whole game. Olave, I don't think he showed it to me yet that he could just take over a whole game like Antonio Brown did against the Saints, even with Marshawn on him. Like that game where Odell just went crazy on the Saints. Like, we see our receivers just take over a game against the Saints. I don't think I recall Olave doing that. Maybe he might do it this year, but I know for sure Taysom and Alvin Kamara could take over a game.
Yeah, well, I'll say it like this, bro. The way the Saints are, they're gonna have to be that way. It's gonna have to be Taysom. It's gonna have to be Alvin because again, you don't want Derek in a shootout. And again, when you look at the schedule and who they playing, they're going to play up to competition. So if they play a team like Carolina, that's an even matchup as far as how the teams want to play. You can't do that with Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? Like Tampa, that's a game in which they should be even. You shouldn't get out there and try to do and by the way, I was wrong on that. It's Tampa, not Atlanta, on the schedule thing. But with that being said, man, I still think the problem and the issue is that the Saints gonna have to put themselves to basically what they used to call it, matriculate the ball down the field, like basically death by 1,000 cuts. We gonna 5 yards you at a time to get down there. That's cool. Until the best offense, to the best defense is a great offense, and you down, Kansas City throwing up 14 on your ass like that, at the snap of a finger. Dallas can do that. Philly can do that to a degree. They can beat you out the gate, and at that point, how do you crawl your way back into a game like that? And you can't do that with Alvin. You can't do it with Taysom. You can't do it with Derek. And at that point, that's when it's going to be like Olave is basically useless because everybody knows you got to throw the ball to get back in the game. Even without a great secondary, they know what's coming. So the Saints going to have to get out to leads early. They can't go down the field like what we saw with the offense during the preseason with the starters in the game. You can't go 2-3 drives without putting points on the board. Every single time the Saints got the ball, as long as the game is close, they got to put points up. And it's got to be touchdown, not field goals. Because the minute you get into a kicking game, you're done. They ain't winning no more 9-0 ball games against no elite teams.
Yeah, speaking of the kicking game, I'm still not a believer in Blake Groupie or the punter. Well, Headley up out of here, so I'm not sure what this new punter going to add to the table. But he still have to show me. But other than that, it's a field position thing. Like that defense got to have rest. Like this offense cannot go 3 and out. That defense got to have time to breathe, and that we got to flip the field with a good punt. And we got to make them field goals when called upon. Like when we in them 47-yard field goals, Blake Groupie going to have to be hitting them more often than not. But I don't trust him to do that. That's just me. If you got any questions for Brian, go ahead and put it down in the chat. We're going to get to it as soon as possible. So put any of your questions down for Brian. We're going to get to it. D. Nicholas says, how about A.T. Perry?
I think A.T. Perry is going to be used, but he won't be what people are expecting him to be. Like people thinking AT's supposed to be like Marcus Colston Jr. That's not gonna happen. So they're gonna have to remember that he's out there. They're gonna have to remember that, he's 6'3", 6'4", whatever it is. But I don't think AT is gonna be like number one wide receiver, as far as pass attempts. If we look at the way the throw chart goes, you might see if the Saints threw the ball, if Derek Carr got a stat line to where he threw the ball 30 times, I'm telling you right now, 9 times out of 10, the Saints lost that game. If he throwing the ball 30 times, they want him somewhere between 20-25 passes a game. Anything over that, it starts to get dangerously close to, we must be behind. We trying to throw the ball to catch up. That's why you see, if you look at the throw chart, you're going to see it to where Olave going to have, let's say, 7 targets. Shaheed 5 targets. If A.T. Perry get 3, he lucky. And I think that's how it's going to break down in most games because you still got to get the ball to the tight ends and to the running backs because Derek Carr, for his career, has been captain check down. He can throw the deep ball well, or he used to before the injury, but that's not what the Saints offense is calling for him to do. Plus, he ain't got that fastball no more like that. So I think at some point it's going to have to be that you go. You're going to want A.T. Perry out there to be a help in the red zone, a help on third down, but you're not going to think of A.T. Perry as a dude that's going to go out there and get 10 targets a game.
When it comes to Clint Kubiak, a lot of people are thinking about the 49ers offense. They had Brandon Ayuk. I was listening to something on the radio, and it said Brandon Ayuk actually was beating his guy. Like they did some type of data thing, and like he was like high in the league. And actually, Deebo Samuel was very low. So that kind of played into that part where a lot of the DBs around the league are saying, man, Deebo Samuel is not even just a wide receiver like that. He a running back. But, they scheming him very well to still get his production. So say what you want about Deebo, he still get his production. But, Brandon Ayuk was actually, getting open a lot of the times. I think he got paid what he should have got paid. But when it comes to Clint Kubiak, do you think he's going to be able to scheme this offensive skill position open? Or do you think a lot of that going to have to come yards after the catch? And they just going to have to sometimes just go out there and go make it work? And do you think that they could really just block and be physical with a lot of teams? Because in his offense, these guys got to block. Do you trust that with guys like Olave and Rashid Shaheed?
No. And I don't the physical aspect of it. Let me say it like this: sometimes you ain't got to be physically overwhelming. You just got to be willing to do it. And as long as they're willing blockers, they'll be fine. They ain't gonna. I don't trust Olave and Shaheed to go out there and get a dude on get their hands on the DB and drive him 3 yards out of the picture until he out of bounds. I don't think that's happening. But I think getting in front of a dude and trying to be a willing blocker, as long as they do that, that'll help out the run game. As far as how they look lined up. And compared to what San Francisco had, I think if I had to bet on it, I would say if he's healthy, I think Shaheed would have better numbers than Olave, because I think the defense is going to be geared towards stopping Olave, but you can't stop both of them. Kind of like when you look at what you just said about Deebo and about Ayuk, it's like the defense is trying to stop Deebo. That's why Ayuk running free out there, because you can't lock Deebo up. And if the Saints have anybody comparable to a Deebo, it's 2 players. It's Taysom and it's Bub Means. See how they utilize, and maybe you have the equivalent of that. But for me, I feel like Olave gonna have to go out there and win a lot of either one-on-one matchups and beating this man to where it's yards after catch, or it's gonna have to be a blown coverage. I think Shaheed is the dude to look for to put up bigger numbers in his offense, if anybody. Not because Olave can't do it, but because people know he's the number 1 guy, so they're gonna try to slow him down.
Yeah, that was actually a hot take from my guy Hoodie Jube. He another very optimistic Saints fan, and he said that he predict that in this offense, Rashid Shaheed will probably put up better production numbers than Chris Olave.
I can see that.
We got Jerry says, Brian, at QB2, Rattler or Hayner?
I mean, it's easy for me, bro. It's Spencer, and it's not. And it's nothing to do with Jake. I'm gonna put it to you this way: when I watch Jake, I see a really good backup. And there's nothing wrong with that, because some backups then carved out nice careers in the league. And that's cool. I just never see a dude that I feel like is going to be a true starter, leader of a team. Let's take my, when the NFL come to town and they rolling the cameras, it's never going to be Jake Hayner and the New Orleans Saints are taking on that's not it. But I could see them saying Spencer Rattler and the New Orleans Saints will be taking on Michael Penix or whatever like that in the Atlanta Falcons. I can see that matchup happening right there. That's why I'm excited about it. And that's why I think Spencer's the dude. Not to mention that, but practically, I don't know how Clint Kubiak run it. Like I said, I'm a dude that hears stuff from time to time. I ain't had media credentials in years. That being said, when I did, and I was at the practices, Derek Carr gonna get all of the snaps. And if he ain't all, let's say practice is 30 snaps long. Derek Carr getting 22 snaps. The second backup quarterback is going to get about, let's say, 6 snaps. The third quarterback gets 2 snaps, if any. That's normally how practices are ran. So if Spencer Rattler is the number 3 quarterback, you're not developing him. Now, I talked to somebody, who's close to the, organization that says They've devised a plan to where both guys are supposed to get equal amount of snaps in practice. That means you mean to tell me you think while trying to teach Derek Carr a new offense, y'all got the skills to be able to teach Derek Carr a new offense, Spencer Rattler a new offense, and Jake Haener a new offense simultaneously? Ain't gonna happen. They only got one football and one way you can practice. So I think it's a flaw in the system, but that's the plan that they're going with. They're gonna really try to devise a plan to where they can give everybody the snaps needed, and I don't see that happening because Derek needs everything. He needs all the time on task. I don't see it working. So to me, just put Spencer back there and let it go.
Man, I just can't wait till the new era comes. I just want a new head coach so bad, and I just want Spence Rattler to be the quarterback, bro. And I just can't wait till we play Atlanta, and I just want to see him versus Penix, and I just want that era to come. Like that just
Yeah.
so fun to me. You got Penix, you got Bryce Young. You know, the Panthers, they looking like they're gonna have a top pick. They might get Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter might go with Bryce Young. That's gonna be some fun to look at. So speaking of Spence Rattler, I had said he reminded me of young Russ. I take that back. I think Russ is way more elusive and more shifty than him. I think I'm gonna go ahead on and say he remind me of a Jordan Love.
I like the Jordan Love comparison. I think it's
really
yeah. I think it's I think by Jordan, kind of taking that time to develop, he was able to get there. But Jordan didn't look like Jordan until the coaches started to trust him. I don't think Spencer gonna have that problem. I think if I had to say like out the gate, somebody that just instantly caught fire, I would say maybe it's closer to Dak. Because when Dak first got in there, they was letting it fly. It was like, look, we got this now. Let's go. So I know Dak chokes when it comes to playoff time, and I don't think Spencer is made of the same DNA with that. But I think the way Dak takes control, like he took control the minute he walked in that locker room. I mean, this is a locker room that had Tony Romo, but he instantly was able to gravitate and have the people wanting him to get out there. Kind of like we seen with Spencer Rattler. Tony Romo was the incumbent. Dak had just walked in the door as a fourth-round draft pick. We're seeing a very similar thing with Spencer, as far as with Derek Carr. The fans wanted Dak to get out there because they understood what it could be. We understand what it could be. I think Spencer with more poise, better touch on the football. I think, Russ might have been more elusive, but he excels at escaping the pocket and making plays downfield, almost like street ball. Spencer, the definition of a quarterback. He gonna be able to make every single throw, and his mind gonna beat you before anything else.
Okay. We got Carolina coming up week 1 of the regular season. A lot of people are feeling like we're gonna for sure win this game. Some people think we're gonna just stump them. Some people think it's gonna be a dog fight. Me, I think we probably win by at least a good maybe 10 points. That's what I got. If I got like a 20-10 victory. What do you feel like about the additions they made, and how do you see this week 1 this matchup just playing out? Like after all the additions they made with Johnson on the receiver, then they got the other Lara receiver, then they got the little country boy wide receiver they got. I forget his name. I think his name Leggett or something like that. They got him. They boosted up the defensive line. I mean, not the defensive line, the offensive line. They still coming back with Derek Brown. These dude actually had like over 100 tackles at the defensive line position. Like that's crazy. They looking to get J.C. Horn back. I think a lot of times we play the Panthers, I don't even think J.C. Horn be playing.
He was hurt.
Yeah, he always be hurt. So what do you think about this matchup?
I think it's a good test for the Saints because it's a division opponent. It's an opponent that normally plays them tough. So for me, I like coming out with Carolina, and it should be a winnable game for the Saints. So what I feel like is going to happen is going to be like the Titans last year, to where it's going to be like one of those 22-16, 17, maybe 17-16 game, but it's going to be a lot closer than it should be. I don't see the Saints beating them by 10 points. And I'm not saying you're wrong on that. I think it's going to be tighter than that because it's the first game. They're still trying to learn. I think they're going to have to give Trevor Penning a lot of help. So if the Saints win that game, it's going to be on the ground. And I think that's going to eliminate Derek Carr, going downfield a lot. Look, I'm all for it. If the Saints beat them boys 38-3, I'm with it. But I think it's going to be closer to like 23-17 or something like that.
I just look at that. I just look at Bryce Young. Like I look at his size. Yeah, they added some offensive line help. They added, 2 wide receivers. Adam Thielen, he could be wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, maybe. I don't know. But I look at our defense and I just think we're gonna just suffocate them boys. Like I just ain't gonna suffocate them boys. Who they have at tight end?
To be honest with you, bro, I'm gonna have to look into it like that. I really don't know at this point. I was more
Who-
probably focused on the outside position than inside, but
Is it
to
still
answer,
Hurst?
who's that?
Is it still Hurst?
It could be Hayden. It could be Hayden, man. So that's a really, and I don't have my other phone with me. I left it on the charger, bro. My fault, man. But uh man, that's a great question, bro. I would say if I had to give a reason to why I think the game would be a little closer, even though Carolina's, trying to build up, is the idea of one, like I said, historically, they play themselves. And two, I think the Saints are still trying to learn their offense. Derek Carr didn't play a lot in the preseason. He had that, a couple of series, but he didn't play a lot. And I don't think, and not to mention that, but even when he did play, he didn't have his full complement of people out there. So I don't think they have that time on task together like they should. Now, now that everybody's pretending to be healthy, we're gonna see what happens. But I mean, I got to see it in real time, and to me, I feel like the Saints don't know who they're playing in Carolina this time around. It's not like they still got Ron Rivera over there or somebody that they've seen, multiple times. Nah, this is a team that got a new offensive coordinator, new head coach, a different type of system that they're going to be running that might be more conducive to what Bryce Young does well. Bryce ain't the biggest of dudes, but he hella accurate. So maybe they're going to be playing the Saints and looking exactly like the Saints. We ain't going to make too many mistakes. We ain't going to ask Bryce to do a lot. Think and don't give him a couple of little shots here. We'll win a 17-16 ball game. If they trying to employ that same plan as the Saints, what you got is two boring ass teams playing each other, meaning that it's going to be a low scoring game, and in a low scoring game, it only takes one play. And we know Derek Carr is known for saying, "I didn't see a dude," and throw a pick six.
Yeah, yeah. They got Clowney, but they lost Brian Burns. They lost that guy Louvu. I think with Hayden Hurst, if they still have him, I'm not sure who's they tight end. I think they're going to try to attack our safeties. I'll be expecting them to go at Will Harris or Jordan Howden very early. I think they're going to try to run the ball up the gut too as well. They're going to try to see if the Saints have really improved with stopping the run. Like I said, I feel like the Saints ain't been good at stopping the run since Malcolm Brown left. We had Colin Sanders come up in here. I feel like he got a lot of fanfare due to the fullback package, and that just brought some excitement to the team. And on top of that, he was coming in doing backflips. But other than that, I think that Roach played better than him last season. Like I don't think he lived up to expectations. So they got to still show that they can stop this run. So if they move Cam inside, maybe they got something, but they still got to show me. And I don't think that Gay is going to be on the field a lot with Demario Davis and Pete Werner. Just depending on the package they come out with, but it's going to be a lot. D. Nicholas says, "How do you feel about Juwan Johnson? He got a lot to prove, in my opinion."
I feel the same way. I feel like Juwan was rested on the idea that he ain't had nobody else out there with him. So it was easy for him to make the squad. Now they got a lot of faith in the little young buck Holker, man. They love what Foster Moreau has been in the offense thus far. And I think Juwan got a lot to prove, especially for a dude that's probably on the outs if he can't. I don't think they're going to get rid of him this year, but I think next year we could easily see Juwan going if he don't play good this year. If he don't put up the numbers that they're expecting.
Hurricane Mike says, "Jake Hanna reminds me of Teddy Bridgewater," which is good, by the way, and Rattler reminds me of Kyler Murray.
I can understand why. It's the dynamic. It's the dynamic play for the. It's almost like the turtle and the rabbit, man, when they race or whatever, the tortoise and the hare. It's the idea of Jake is more of a slow and steady will win the race, and Spencer was like, yeah, but I could beat you now. And I think it's a little bit, it's flash versus substance. The thing is that I think people ignore Spencer's substance because he does have a lot of sizzle.
Do you think Rattler is? Are we? Are we just giving him more credit than Axford when it comes to his athleticism? Because, like I say, I said that he reminded me of young Russell Wilson. Then I kind of took that back and said, nah, he reminded me of kind of Jordan Love. And now Hurricane Mike is saying he reminds me of Kyler Murray. Are we kind of like giving him more credit when it comes to his athleticism, or we just ain't really just seen it yet on full display?
I think it's a little bit of both. We may be overrating it because we haven't seen it in the NFL in real time, but I think there's a reason for it. Like, you don't have to be Michael Vick when you escape the pocket in the NFL. You just need to be able to pick up a first down or at least get the safety and break contain and give the defense one more thing to think about. Like, that's all. You don't have to be great at it. Like, if it's 3rd and 7 and you can pick up 8 yards because the defense not paying attention to you and you moving the chains, job well done. That's all you need. So for me, like, he doesn't have to be that. And most importantly is that I don't think they want him to be that run all over the field mobile type of quarterback because he doesn't have to be. He can beat you from the pocket, and that's why I think with Spencer, I would say this: the word coming out on Jake is that if Jake come out cold, he actually comes out hot, meaning that he gonna come out cold because he ain't had no time to warm up. So now he's on 1,000, trying to get the ball to everybody like he's too wound up. Spencer, on the other hand, is always just calm and poised and ready for the situation because he's used to chaos. That's what he got when he was at Oklahoma. And anytime you pull somebody that's putting up numbers, they pulled him, put in Caleb. Then Caleb and Lincoln Riley go run over the go run over to USC. Spencer goes to South Carolina. It's chaotic around him and it's hectic around him, but he was able to still play under that situation. That to me lets me know what type of quarterback you are. Derek Carr is a quarterback that needs everything to be perfect. I think Jake is in that same mode. Spencer's a dude that don't care what the situation is. I'm gonna be me. I got this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But more times than not, it works. And we saw that with a quarterback, and I ain't comparing him to 9, but that's the same type of mind frame Drew had. There's a lot of times Drew threw in a triple coverage to a Jimmy Graham that wasn't open because he was like, yeah, Jimmy, my dude, he got me. I took that gamble because of who it was, and I took that gamble because of who I am. I see the same thing from Spencer, that he one-on-one, I'm going to throw him open. I got him. He in triple coverage, let me put him where nobody can get to it. That's the same mindset Drew had.
Well, I just hope we don't get into this offense and look like Bryce Young, how Bryce Young looked his first starts in the season, by them just having just such a terrible offensive line. Yeah, man, we got 11 people in the chat. We got 12 people in the chat. Go ahead on if you like the content Bryan providing with us. Go ahead on and like the video. It helps out the channel. If you got any questions for Bryan, go ahead on and put it down in the chat below. We're gonna get to it as soon as possible. Thank y'all for being here. We on a Saturday doing this on college football day. I don't know what we was thinking.
Yeah, bro.
We still got 11, 12 people up in here viewing. So thanks for y'all time coming view the show, man. Any questions, put it in the comment section below. We're gonna get to it. Bryan, just yesterday, Saints Twitter again. Alvin Kamara put up his house. It started raising eyebrows. Some people was like, oh yeah, he up out of here. He about to get ready to move. He didn't get his contract yet. He's upset. Some people was like, man, for all we know, he probably just be selling it and just locating elsewhere. This don't really mean nothing. Y'all just jumping to conclusions like everything else. What's your take?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think people are reading into it way more than what they should, and I think Alvin put his house up for sale because he looking at the long term, situation in New Orleans. I'd rather be ahead of it than behind it. Here's the reality: if Alvin sell his house, and I want to say what he's selling it for, like $2 million, something like that, maybe it's more than that. I don't know what he's selling it for. Whatever it may be, it's a house in Bell Chase. You ain't got that many buyers trying to go out there. So he put it up early, trying to get a bite. And if he sells it, then you got, let's say, the $2 million at the house cost. Okay, I got $2 million from that. If the Saints re-sign him, you think he ain't gonna get the money to go buy another damn house in New Orleans? So it's reading a lot into it, but it's also some validity to why you're reading that.
He says, I think it's 2.5 million. Yeah, man, we're gonna have to see, bro. Like that's crazy. He just getting so much attention, like. And I just think it's because the contract, like he still ain't get his contract yet. A lot of guys are just getting their contracts. Ayuk, he just got his. Trent Williams, he's still waiting on his. Do you think that's gonna play into Alvin's performance of the season? And do you feel like Alvin, do you feel like he's a football guy, or you just think he's kind of transitioning out? You see he's going all in Paris. You see he's doing the NASCAR thing. Do you think that he's still grounded within football and just, trying to win, or you think he's just out there playing like it's whatever he knows? He's 28, his time almost coming. He's kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
No, I think he's still 100% committed to football, but I also think if you're smart, like if you pay attention to a dude like Jay was a great rapper. He made a lot of money in music. That's not where he made his multi-millions, if you will. That man got with alcohol. He got with a clothing line. He partnered with the NFL. Like Rihanna, was known for singing. She became a billionaire because of her makeup line and her underwear line. So I think it's about Alvin diversifying what he does. Like there's only so much money in football. Let me go get some of this smoothie money. Let me go get some of this NASCAR money. Let me diversify myself because multiple streams of income is where it's at. You can't tie all your money up in football, especially in a sport like that, to where 1 minute you're the best thing that they ever seen. The next minute, man, they got some dude behind you, somebody better than you, and they giving him an opportunity to prove it. So for me now, I don't think Alvin is has lost his love for football. And yeah, I do think, as the clock is winding down on his career, he looking at it saying, well, you know what? I only got but so many NFL checks left in me. Let me make sure I got other checks steadily coming in. It's smart business.
A lot of people on Saints Twitter, once again, got to go back to the post of the Who That Nation. A lot of people on Saints Twitter are saying, man, this offense is lacking boom. It's lacking speed. We need speed. We can't only just depend on that when it comes to Shaheed, and he's kind of too much similar to Olave. We need diversity. We had got the Vikings. The guy from the Vikings. His name is slipping away from me right now, but we signed him. He's very fast. He used to give us fits, I believe. And then right when we were supposed to just had that deal for him, I think we waived him because he didn't pass the physical. A lot of people was down on that. Like, do you think that if we would have signed him, he was just going to be the kick returner, or you think that's solely for Rashid? Or you think we're looking for somebody to fill that spot for Rashid so Rashid could just focus on being a full-time wide receiver?
I think it's a little strategy involved. I mean, if one Pro Bowl kick returner is good, then two is even better. So now you got to pick your poison with the new rules, because if you look at a dude like Shaheed, with those new rules being that the side that's kicking the ball can't move until the dude catches the ball, that's benefiting the team that's receiving. So if you got him and Shaheed, since they got two people back there, who you gonna kick to? And if you kick the ball out of bounds, I want to say it comes like up further. I want to say I think it comes like to the 30, if I'm not mistaken, with the new rule. So you don't want to give up that field position. You're gonna kick it short. Kick it short. You kick it to Shaheed, Pro Bowl returner. I want to say the cat name was Nene or something like that, man. You kick it to him from the Vikings, and he Pro Bowl returner. That's two dudes. Here's my problem with it. You failed them for not being able to pass a physical, but you got Nick Saldiveri, who lives on IR thus far. You've got Peyton Turner, who lives on IR. Like, you could have took a flyer on dude and just been like, you know what? We're going to pick him up off of waiver claims. Let's get him healthy and then put him out there. Unless it was so bad, he wasn't going to be healthy. And I don't think that was the case.
In a perfect world, what has to happen? What do you think has to happen for the Saints to prove a lot of the people in the Who That Nation side of the fan base wrong? Like, I think the fan base is split up into three fractions right now. Like, I miss when it was harmony. I ain't gonna lie, I do like the chaos. That stuff be kind of entertaining. It just is my day, boy. I be on Twitter. I be like, damn, boy, I barely had to be on YouTube today at work. Did a whole 12-hour shift. I barely had to be on YouTube. That just is my day. But I feel like it's split up into three fractions of the fan base. It's the optimistic fans who just saying, man, no matter what, I believe in this team. I'm a root for this team. Y'all just being negative. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna handle their business. Watch, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And they got the people who I would say, more realistic, but we get called pessimistic. We just basically like prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. We don't trust you. If you prove us wrong, then okay, cool. But if they get wrong, they'd be like, okay, cool. Well, we was wrong. But if we get wrong, it's like we can't just be like, okay, well, they proved us wrong. And then they got the other side of the fan base. Well, they ain't really focused on neither one of these things. They just watching and they just have a look and see approach. What do you think has to happen for the people like us, to get proved wrong and everything, just go right for the Saints?
I think that's what's gonna have to happen. It's gonna have to be like, over the past couple of years with Dennis Allen as head coach, he's had the easiest schedule in the league. Again, they're saying he's got one of the easiest schedules in the league. I think in order for that perfect storm to brew for the Saints to have an 11-win season, I'll put it that way. I think something gonna have to happen like week 1 versus Carolina. I'm gonna say that's an even game, so let's say the Saints win that one. But the following week, whoever Dallas playing first week of the season, let's say Dallas playing Philly. I don't know if that's true. I'm just going by, example. If Dallas play Philly, Dak gets hurt in that game, and Philly loses a couple of key players. And now you got to play the Saints without Dak. You got to play Philly, and Philly missing, three of their four people on defense to start, they're starting cornerbacks, they're starting DBs. When you play Kansas City, Travis Kelce ain't playing that game. It's like that's what's got to happen in
God
order for the
damn,
Saints to win 11.
I'm trying to have some content for the positive people, bro. You just you just basically say, man, well, for this to happen,
No, I'm saying I'm up to take. They need luck more than they need anything else because you ain't got the quarterback or the scheme right now to play shootouts.
All right, in a perfect world, what has to happen? Just focus on us, not dealing with the other team misfortune, not dealing with other team misfortune. This dude really just said, "Well, Dak gonna have to get hurt. Philly gonna have to get hurt before we play Philly."
Yes.
In a perfect world, like in a perfect world, just focused on us. Like, what has to transpire for us to be successful? Like, just give me a few key points that you say, okay, if all this aligned, then I could see us having, around 11 wins, go to the playoffs. Not saying Super Bowl, but we can at least win 2 playoff games.
I would say that the Saints would have to become essentially what the 49ers were. You got to be the most physical team on the field. Offense, defense, special teams, you got to be the most physical team. 2, your offensive line has to gel. They have to gel early. It's got to look like the 5 starters you got been playing with each other for 5 years and they know each other, kind of like what the Saints had when it was Carl Nixon, Jari Evans, and Jonathan Goodwin in the middle. And you had your bookend tackles with Bushrod on one side and either Stinchcomb or Jack Street on the other. It's got to look like that. And if the offensive line can look like that, that means the running game is going to be going well, which means that the style of offense the Saints want to play, that ground and pound, we're going to be the most physical team. We're going to beat you on defense. We're going to win these games 24-17 because we're just better than you. And at some point, we're going to be able to stop you from scoring. You can't stop us because we know you got to throw the ball and we can run the ball and milk the clock. So we're going to basically just out physical you the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter. If that happens, the Saints could easily win 11 games because the teams that they play aren't physical teams. They're teams that can get up on you early. So Carolina, because they usually play the Saints tough, might be a physical game. I don't expect Dallas and Philadelphia. Philly may be more than others because they're you know what? That's probably the perfect example. What Philadelphia did is probably what the Saints need to do with Nick. What's the guy name, man? Nick something is it? I can't. It no starts with an S. I can't think of his last name. Nick Sirianni.
Oh,
I got it. Yeah, Nick Sirianni. When he got it there, he took Jalen and he gave Jalen limited shit to do. Because they was gonna run the ball, they was gonna play tough defense behind it. If they had to kick a field goal, they weren't taking no chances. That's the perfect example of what the Saints can be and win 11 games this year. If they are like what Philly was a couple of years ago when they damn near went to the Super Bowl, and then after that shit, everybody wanted to get rid of Nick Sirianni.
Did they damn near go to the Super Bowl? I think they went to the
I
Super Bowl.
want to say they went and they lost. And then the next year, there was like an 11-win team, and the Philadelphia fans were saying they still want to fire the dude.
I don't remember that. I remember Philly getting to the playoffs and losing to Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round. And then that next year they went to the Super Bowl.
It could be vice versa. I don't remember the shit exactly how it was, and it could be vice versa. I just remember them having a really, really good squad that was physical and ran the ball a lot because they had Jalen and they didn't really want to open it up too much for him. Then the next year I want to say they went and got AJ Brown. So it's very possible you could have it right. But I remember them going to the Super Bowl, and then after that the Philadelphia fans being like, you know what, we don't like this dude no more. But that first year, maybe that second year, Philly offense was perfect for what they wanted to run.
So, okay. Okay. So Nick Sirianni. Okay, so do you feel like he's a good coach?
I don't feel like he's a good coach. I feel like he's an okay coach. I feel like some coaches are just not great dudes like that. Like when I think of Andy Reid, I think of great coach. When I think of Nick Sirianni, I think of, I like what he does.
Okay, so Nick Sirianni, is he offensive minded or defensive minded? And Dan Campbell.
I want Dan Campbell to me is a defensive minded coach. I want to say Nick Sirianni is defensive minded, but I want to say he has an offensive. Both dudes have an offensive background, but I want to say they're more defensive minded dudes.
Okay, so in the perfect world, Dennis Allen, let's just say, Dennis Allen, he has Clint Kubiak, and Clint Kubiak is cooking,
Yeah.
And just like Nick Sirianni. Now, Nick Sirianni was a little different. I just felt like that team was stacked that Super Bowl year. Like, they had some good coordinators. They had some good offensive line play. Jalen Hurts, he played on MVP level. Like I don't see that from Dennis. I mean, I don't see that from Derek Carr. I don't see the offensive line just doing this as good as the Eagles. But do you think a perfect storm could happen to where Dennis Allen, yeah, he a bad coach, but if Clint Kubiak is good, we already know the defense can be, at least a Super Bowl defense. Do you think a perfect storm could happen, well, this team can at least go to the playoffs and win 2 playoff games?
2 playoff games, I don't know. One, yeah, because I feel like it doesn't necessarily have to be
Well,
all things aligned, but more often than not, I would say that I
well,
would
give,
say that could they
well, give
do
me
it?
three.
Yeah.
Give me 3 players. Give me 3 players that you feel like will for sure need to step up.
Trevor Penning is one. Derek Carr is another one. And oh man, defensively. One of the safeties, not Tyron, one of the free safeties. So it'd have to be either Howden or Will Harris or somebody like that. Because in order for Dennis Allen's defense to be truly successful, he needs a good free safety. So that's the 3 spots. I'm gonna do right tackle, I'm gonna do quarterback, and I'm gonna do free safety. If those 3 positions are playing well, the Saints have a chance.
Okay.
And it
So
doesn't
that's
necessarily have to be the perfect storm. It just have to be like just win 10. Win
yeah,
10 and you win.
yeah. Because that's why I was asking, but you just started saying all these teams got to have all this misfortune.
And
so
I
I
believe that.
So I be able to just asking, like if this guy can just play solid, if that guy can play solid and that guy can play solid, we can have a chance. Just like the other season, I said if Pennon do good, Peyton Turner do good, and Michael Thomas do good, we got a chance. And what happened? Pennon got benched, Michael Thomas got hurt, Peyton Turner, of course, got hurt. um,
Yeah.
we got D. Nicholas says, if you got any comments, if you got any questions for Brian, go ahead on and write it down in the chat. I'm about to let him go soon. So get your comments out as soon as possible. We're going to just try to rapid fire this thing off before we get up out of here. Let him get up out of here. D. Nicholas says, the Kendrick Miller situation has me frustrated so far. Do y'all agree?
Hell yeah, because Kendrick Miller could be one of those players that could be really, really good. But okay, I'll put it to you this way. You know how sometimes, bro, you're watching basketball, man, and people be like, he don't love the game. He just happened to be like 6'9" or whatever like that. That's Kendrick Miller. I don't think he loved the game like that. I think Kendrick is young, he's talented, he got paid, and now he's set. He ain't got nothing to worry about. So for him, off-season workouts, man, I'm good. I'll get in shape when I get there. And I think he's lucky the Saints took one more crack at him because to me, if I was the GM, I would have cut him. Not because I don't think he's talented, but because I realized you just wasted everybody offseason when you had a golden opportunity right here. We probably not paying Alvin Kamara because we talking about keeping you, and your dumb ass can't even get past stretching in warm-ups for practice. Not because they're about to play a game. I'm talking about day one, stretch one, training camp, he hurt. No thank you. Or mini camp, whatever it was, OTAs, he hurt. Nah, we good. He can go.
Yeah. You got any questions for Brian? Go ahead on and put it down in the chat right now before I let him get up out of here, because I'm about to let him get up out of here and wrap up the show. But as far as Kendrick Miller, yeah, man, the picture came out. Well, it was just looking like, man, he ain't even been looking like he's been working out. It like he don't have no. It looked like he ain't had no tone in his arms and his legs and things of that nature. So I guess a lot of people was like, man, this dude don't even look like he just been working out, trying to get back to full strength or whatever. But maybe they could be wrong and it's just a picture and they just put more into it though. I don't know. But B, you got anything you want to say before you get up out of here, man? I'm gonna go ahead and let you get up out of here. We 13 minutes past the hour. I like to go around an hour and don't keep your hell hostage. But you got any last words to the
No,
who that fan base?
no, man. Just I know somebody out there selling the agenda shirts, and I want to say it's going to their kids. Like whoever's selling the shirts, a part of the proceeds are going to like somebody else because their kid is fighting leukemia or something like that. I can't remember. I know it's something serious. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. If you out there in Saints Twitter, check with the Saints Twitter podcast guys, man. Block Party. I'm sorry. The Saints Block Party podcast. Check with them. I know some of the proceeds are going to. It's one of the guys that's in their social group, man. So look into that because it's for a good cause. So if you buy a Spencer Rattler T-shirt with the agenda on it, it's going to help his family fight this medical condition. So I think that's dope.
Yeah, man. Go ahead on and y'all check that out, man. We got Nicholas say who that y'all the agenda. And another thing about Homer Q, I felt like, yeah, he put what he put, saying, yeah, you got the national media in our crib and our business. Like, you gotta look at it from another side too. Like the Saints Block Party podcast, they've been podcasting for 4 years and they breaking
Yeah,
national media. Like, you gotta look at it from the side of, like, that's an achievement for them. Like, they really
yeah.
breaking, they getting their podcast, to national media waters. So before you just downplay the agenda thing and everybody having fun on Twitter and all that just for the sake of, not having the national media in our business and try to maybe protect Derek Carr, whatever perspective he have, you gotta, look at them brothers on, having a nice achievement. Like, that was their moment.
Yeah, man, I salute them brothers, man. I ain't never been no hater, bro. I'm a lot of things, but a hater ain't one of them. So I hope they, I hope they continue success, bro. I hope the Saints stop playing around and give them brothers their media credentials. I understand why they don't, because I told you the Saints run that shit like a mob, brother. Like they don't really try to give it to everybody, but to tell those brothers they don't have a big enough outreach, it's some nonsense. So I hope the Saints stop playing and give them brothers their credentials so they could cover the team. It's not gonna hurt, man. It goes goodwill that a podcast can kind of crawl up and make their way into that, into that realm, man. So I hope the Saints stop playing around. Get them brothers their credentials, man.
Right. I agree. I'm gonna let you go ahead on and get up out of here, man. I don't want you to keep your hell hostage no longer. I don't want you being like Sue Young up in here. But go ahead on and tell the people where they can follow you at on Twitter, man, so they could go ahead on.
Man, I'm on Twitter, Battle Rap Bets. The reason why I got that name because I truly do bet on Battle Rap. Put your money up if you think I'm lying. But it's Battle Rap Bets. It's like my 13th, 17th, 15th account. I done lost track at this point. But follow me there for, unfiltered Saints content if you so choose.
Yeah, man. And that's how we gonna end it, man. Be cool, B.
I'ma holler at you, fam.
All right. Yeah, man, that was B joining the show again, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. If you like the show, man, go ahead on and hit the like button and help out the channel. We 1 more week away, bro. We 1 more week away from Saints football regular season. We got the Carolina Panthers. I got us winning this game. I think it's going to be a little tougher than people think. And, but I think we come out with at least a 10-point victory. I think it's going to be close, but I think we're going to break away. At the back end, we're going to have a field goal to put us 10 points ahead, or we're going to have a last-minute touchdown to put us 10 points ahead. And it's going to be a dogfight, man. We got Clowney. He's going to be lining up against Trevor Penning. They added some guys on the offensive side of the ball to help out Bryce Young. They got a new coach. It's some stuff to be excited about if you're a Carolina Panther fan. They won, 2 games last year. If they can just double that up and win 4, maybe even squeeze out 5 or 6, that's an improvement. But they got a lot of work to do. But that's a team that's on the come up, bro. And, they're going to be, they're going to have some pride, bro. They're going to have some fight out there. But I'm going to be covering this preview of this game pretty late on in the week. We're going to be talking about that game a lot, much more. We're going to dive deep into the Panthers roster. We're going to see all the key matchups. And we're going to talk about it, man. But until then, man, y'all just be safe and who that, man.